All right. Good evening. Welcome to the Easthampton City Council meeting for Wednesday, June 15. This meeting tonight is being recorded and broadcast by Easthampton Media on Charter, Channel 193, and live streaming on their YouTube channel. All councilors and participants in this meeting are gathering hybrid on the executive order by Governor Baker extended to July 15, which allow us to do so. I remain both the member of the City Council and of the public to remain mute until recognized by the President. Also, for the member of the public, please remove your camera for the direction of this meeting, although you are participating in the public hearing. Thank you. This meeting is now called to order. Barbara.
Connie Denham. Here. Salem Derby.
Present.
Omar Gomez.
Present.
Amy Kaczynski.
Here.
Tom Peak.
Here.
Brad Riley.
Here.
Dan Rist.
Here.
Lindsay Rothschild. Here. Owen Zara.
Present.
Okay, before the Pledge of Allegiance, if you're participating in hybrid, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. Please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
The flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll get that down eventually.
All right. We don't have public speak time tonight, but we do have a public hearing. We have City Council President and Vice President Communication. I will start saying this councilor signed an agreement with the mayor and the school department, the school committee. The chairwoman of the school committee just signed the agreement a little over an hour ago. That agreement is going to be public. We're going to read it for the record, and I'm going to pass to the Vice President Derby to read the agreement to the record.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is my first time reading it, so. In order to ensure that the educators and support staff of Easthampton are supported in their mission to provide a supportive and enriching learning environment for the city of Easthampton, and in order to further understanding, communication, and collaboration between the city of Easthampton and its schools, the undersigned hereby state their intention to undergo the following course of action. Number one, provide the mayor's fiscal year 2023 budget is passed with or without amendments within fiscal year 2022. The mayor agrees to allow any appropriation request from the Education Department to move to the City Council. Two, the City Council will work with the Education Department to appropriate the funds necessary to maintain a level service budget and will not consider the presence of reserves to be a disqualifying factor when discussing appropriation requests. Three, the school committee and City Council will form a joint committee of their respective finance committees, which will meet quarterly with the goal of furthering understanding and communication between the two bodies. Four, the city will issue an RFP for an external auditor to perform an independent review of Easthampton Public School District with the goal of better understanding the fiscal health of the city, the resources available to the Education Department, and alignment with best practices. This will include a review of the school chart of accounts and alignment of the school and city accounting procedures and all school funds outside the operating budget, including circuit breaker and school choice revolving funds, to governing regulations and best practices. A committee will be formed to draft the RFP and make a selection from the responses, with the mayor, superintendent, and city council president each making an appointment to the committee. The findings of the review will be reported to the Joint Finance Committee, and the City Council and School Committee will act in good faith to ensure the recommendations are acted upon in a timely manner. Number five, the School Committee will instruct the school business manager to support the aforementioned Joint Committee to construct a 3, 5, and 10-year financial forecast for the district to help inform the future budget process. The 10-year financial forecast will also serve as a capital plan for the Education Department. The Education Department will pay to operate the district with level services. The undersigned parties also acknowledge that members of the City Council and School Committee will introduce resolutions ahead of the passage of the fiscal year 23 budget, stating those respective bodies' intent to act in good faith to uphold and guarantee this agreement through the powers available to them. In the case of the City Council, this resolution will state the Council's willingness to withhold appropriations toward other sources if the tenets of this agreement are not honored.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I just want to say for the record that this agreement was signed by the mayor, the school committee chairwoman, Cindy Kosinski, and myself. This is not for discussion tonight because we already signed it. But one of the agreements that we have is to do a resolution that we put in place. It's part of the package. And before that, I have to say thank you for the group of people that was negotiating in this for this agreement. To say thank you to the mayor, Nicola Chappelle, the superintendent, Allison Dale. Thank you, the school committee chairwoman. Great job, and school committee member Ben, and of course our good friend and colleague, Councilor Peak. You spend a lot of hours and probably a lot of nights thinking about this agreement, and we finally got it. I hear at the school committee that this agreement wasn't perfect. I have to disagree. I think it's perfect because it didn't make happy everybody, and I think that's what is perfect. We work hard in the language. We made this in good faith. I believe that the counselor will support the schools. We believe in the public schools. I do believe in public schools. Don't be fooled. For those people, they don't really believe in public school and support them. I'm one of those that really believe I'm a product of a public school. My uncle was a superintendent, so I know how it is. My 3 girls went to Easthampton High, public schools. My grandson is going to public schools. So I used to coach in the public schools too. My wife worked in a public school. So I know how important is the school for our society. And that's why we work so many hours to figure it out, to give the money that the school deserve without hurting any other departments in our city. Because the safety, our streets, and everything in our city is really important. I just want to be clear with that. The school is really important, but for us, we need to create a balance. And that balance is important for us and for our constituents. Now I'm going to pass it to Councilor Peak to read the resolution. And after we have a motion and a second, we can discuss it. And if any councilor object tonight, I prefer to pass this resolution tonight. Councilor Peak.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, so this is a resolution in support of an agreement between the Easthampton City Council, School Committee, and Mayor's Office regarding the fiscal year 2023 budget. And I made it nice and short. Whereas Mayor Nicole LaChapelle, City Council President Omar Gomez, and School Committee Chair Cynthia Kwasinski have signed an agreement regarding school funding in the upcoming fiscal year. And whereas this agreement was signed to address concerns about school funding in fiscal year 2023. And whereas this agreement gives the Education Department the financial flexibility to come to the council to address their ongoing financial needs. And whereas this agreement also lays out a process with which the City of Easthampton and Education Department leadership, along with members of the City Council and School Committee, can further understanding when it comes to the finances of our schools. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Easthampton City Council supports this agreement and commits itself in good faith to the action steps outlined therein. Be it further resolved that the Easthampton City Council will use all tools available to it to guarantee that all parties involved in this agreement will hold up their sides of the deal. Mr. President, I make that as in form of a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the resolution in support of the agreement between the Easthampton City Council, School Committee, and Mayor Office regarding the fiscal year 2023 budget. Any further discussion from the councilors? Councilor Rest.
I just wanted to make a comment. I've been on the city council for a long time. I want to compliment Councilor Peak, and especially you, President Gomez. This is leadership. Going out there and finding a way through this very technically complicated process. It's leadership that I am very happy to compliment you on. Thank you very much for this work, and you too, Councilor Peak.
Any other Councilor Riley?
Yep, so I just have a brief statement that I just want to read regarding this, if that's okay? Okay. All right, when I took out papers to run for city council, I promised to protect this community of brilliant and engaged citizens. Some of you have maybe heard me say before that the job of representing the people of Easthampton has been easy because you always tell me how you want your city to be run. And it's true. Over the last 6 months, you participated in a democratic process that is surpassing my wildest expectations. I never have to guess how you feel. As it pertains to the budget, it is not an exaggeration when I say that 100% of you who reached out expressed support for our students, our teachers, and the institutions of education. Every single email, text, or post on social media was resounding, and there were hundreds of them because I counted. Easthampton demanded a level services budget for our schools. And a few weeks ago, I sat up here with Councilor Peak while he made a plea for cooler heads to come to the table, to do what is right, and to find a solution that works for everyone. Alongside school committee members, that's exactly what happened. Their leadership over the last 2 weeks delivered a victory for transparency, accountability, and most importantly, for our schools. I am indebted to their service to our community. And to every parent, educator, and student who has reached out to me over the last few months, I want you to know that this is your win too. You are the beating heart of our democratic process. I am so proud of you, and I'm so proud to represent you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilor? Councilor Sarah?
Obviously, just wanted to thank everyone who was involved in this process, certainly my colleagues on the council. Thank you very much for even more unexpected hours of work that are already being put in. And certainly to the members of the schools and our chief executive, the mayor, for really getting together in a collaborative fashion. I know that there are moments where this was tense, but I think the ends justify the means. And it was really a pleasure to see our community come together, the parents, constituents, people in support of the schools, people who work for the schools, to make it very clear what was important to them and to see a response. I don't think on my brief time on the council that I've seen people turn out so much in support of a single item like this, except for, oddly, the vote for the new school. So here we are again, putting education first and foremost. The enemy of good is perfect, and I think that, but I think this is an exceptional agreement. I think we ultimately get what is the most important thing here, and that's a pathway to a level service budget for the schools. So kudos to everyone, and kudos to Easthampton. I think they're the ones who win here. So thanks again, everybody.
Councilor Peak?
Once we're done making statements, I did realize that there's an "and" in here that shouldn't be. It's a typo on my end. So I guess
That's a typo that we can fix.
we can
that. Don't worry.
just, we don't need to make a thing that's.
Read it again.
We're good.
Where is it?
Do it all over.
Where is it? Just so I can-
The fourth whereas, there's an "and" at the end, and it really should say schools now, therefore, be it resolved.
That's fine. We don't have to make an amendment.
No.
Any other councilors? No? Before we vote, I just forget the school committee, Megan Harvey was part of the negotiations too. Thank you, Megan, for being part of
He wants
this.
to speak.
Mr. President,
Yes, sorry, Councilor Kosinski.
I was raising my hand. Thank you. I realize just how much everyone worked hard to make this happen. I believe that the process was not necessarily easy. It was difficult, but a challenge that was worth every bit of effort to create that path forward. We have averted a current crisis. I believe the budget is set to go tonight. I believe that we have a process that will support the schools, and I appreciate everyone who participated in the process and who advocated. And again, I want to reiterate what everyone else has said. I believe this has been the greatest turnout of all issues that I have seen in my time in this council. That being said, had this occurred with another department and another budget, I believe this council would have done similarly to support all the departments, public safety, every single department. And I am proud to be representing the citizens of Easthampton. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Barbara?
Okay. Connie Denham.
Aye.
Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, councilors. Before going to the public hearing, I just want to move to the new business. Before we move to the public hearing, that's going to be long. Councilor Rist?
Yes, we have before us, councilors, one of the tenets of the new agreement is the establishment of a school stabilization fund. Because this is not an appropriation and merely the establishment of a fund, we can't pass it this evening without, unless there is objection from a city councilor. Please don't, sorry.
Any councilor have any objection to pass this tonight?
So I'll read it. I move pursuant to MGL Chapter 40, Section 5B, the City of Easthampton establishes a school stabilization fund for the purpose of addressing level service gaps in current fiscal year Easthampton Public Schools budget as approved by the City Council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the creation of the stabilization account. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Barbara?
Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Yes.
Connie Denham. Aye.
Councilor Rist? Motion passes. Councilor Rist?
We have another piece of new business. This is a simple, we've done this before, and I'd also like to pass it in this evening unless there's an objection. This is the department revolving account spending cap that is required in the Department of Public Works for electric vehicle charging stations and bike share program. It's a $20,000 cap spending. This is just making sure we're on track for this account. The auditor needs this done. I think we've done it already once, either this year or maybe it been last year. My memory keeps jumping. Anyway, unanimously voted to establish revolving fund in accordance. We have a revolving fund to collect the funding. This is to cap the spending. So does anybody have any questions?
We have Hadel on the call. I want to let her explain to the new councilors what we're doing, so that way you have more clarification of what we're gonna do. Hadel?
Yes. So this is the revolving account for EV charging station and bike station. And the name is, it's a departmental revolving account. So money comes in from the charges and it goes into this account. By the state law, it needs to have a cap at the end of the fiscal year for the following fiscal year. And we are asking for setting a cap for $20,000 for expenditure. This account can make, let's say, up to $50,000, and that's okay, but the only limit they can spend on this account is $20,000. If there any reason to increase this cap, the department has to come back to the city council.
Thank you, Hadel. For the record, Hadel Patel is our city auditor.
Yes, sorry.
Any councilor have any questions for Hadel before we made the motion? No. Councilor?
I move that the City Council cap the DPW revolving fund spending for electric vehicle charging stations and bike share programs at $20,000 for fiscal year 2023 as per MGL Chapter 44, Section 53E and 1/2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to, for the fiscal year 2023, Department of Revolving Account spending cap. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Barbara?
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham. Aye. Salem Derby.
Aye.
Motion passes. I will take a motion to open public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to open public hearing. Barbara?
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham. Aye. Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye. Motion passes. Councilor Rist?
So the budget, there are 10 sections to the budget. We will begin, first I wanted to go over how the budget must be balanced. We have a lot of sources of revenue. The main source of revenue is our tax collection, primarily property taxes. We were allowed to increase that to 2.5%. That's the Prop 2.5 that was done, many decades ago. That tax limiting proposition makes sure that we don't raise taxes too much. Now, the other source of revenue that's pretty exciting is we did get more money from the cherry sheet, which is the local aid that we get from the state, but also our local receipts went up quite a bit, and that's a lot of things, park entrance fees, all kinds of fees that every department collects, but also excise taxes. They're up a lot. Thank you, Easthampton, for buying new cars. Because of that, the mayor was able to give us a budget that's almost $3 million more than the budget last year. Our total expense, our budget last year was $45,900,466. Our budget this year is $48,541,883.64. It's a huge increase. And the mayor is much more confident this year in her revenue and her team's revenue expectations, which is why we can present this budget with confidence. The mayor, in fact, all the mayors I've worked for, and I'm probably the only one the councilor has worked with all of them. Oh, you have? Yeah. Oh, good for you. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, we've always been conservative in estimating our revenues because we do not want to incur a deficit at the end of the year. So our revenue, last year, for instance, the mayor was not confident in revenues, which is why a lot of budgets were funded beneath what they needed, and we had to do supplemental appropriations to catch up. Saying that, we will begin with Section 1, General Government. Section 1 covers a great many departments in our city. The mayor's office, the council, the city councils, licensing, the auditor, the assessor's office, the treasurer, information technology, tax collection, human resources, the city clerk, elections, planning, and building services. A great deal of the increase in this, and I'm very proud to say, is for information technology. That department is increasing their software maintenance by almost $200,000. Now, what does that mean? Bottom line, it means we get up-to-date software and security. You've heard about the hacks, small cities, where we don't get to use our computer system or our ability to fund anything until we pay some money. Well, this security is what we need. So that's one of the big changes. Also, in this department, in Section 1 General Government, the vast majority of the employees are pay plan employees. And this council approved a pay plan change to a 3% increase per employee in the step system we have. And there also have been employees who get a step increase, which is on the year of their anniversary, they get an increase in salary. So there's been some increases there. In any case, I have the budget in front of me if anybody has a question, but we did go over this line by line, as we always do in finance. And the Finance Committee, at the time of this particular vote, does not have a recommendation. 2 councilors abstained in absence of our current agreement. I think they probably changed their minds this evening. Thank you. So anyway, we don't have a recommendation from the Finance Committee, but we did discuss everything.
Any councilor have any questions or comment to
Can I just?
Councilor Peak?
I just want to say, at the Finance Committee level, as the deal was going and we weren't sure how everything was going to work out, I and Councilor Denham abstained on a good deal of these items just until we could figure something out. I can't speak for Councilor Denham, but with the deal in place, I'm fine to move forward, so I don't want anyone to construe a lack of a recommendation as anything more than just that this was a complicated process and things were coming together the way that they were. But I'm good to vote for all of these.
Perfect. Thank you. Anyone from the public have any comment or question? I will give you 3 minutes to talk, and we're going to keep it to 3 minutes. So anyone from the public, just go to the podium, state your name and address, and please talk to the council.
This is on general, just on.
Yeah, and I know people online is raising their hands. I'm gonna let people from the public here talking first, and then we go into the people that are participating through remote.
Good evening. My name is Margaret Betts. I am the K-5 math coach for the district. I've worked my entire career in the Easthampton Public Schools. I am so excited tonight to be able to urge you to vote to pass this. And I want to thank you. On my drive here from Maple to town, because I drive back to Greenfield in a few hours, I saw two parents walking here. And it made me think about how lucky we are to live in a place where we can peacefully protest. I am so grateful that we were able to share our values with you and for you to be able to hear those values and to come together with a resolution. To live in a democracy is the greatest gift. And to have people in this room right now who may not agree with each other and may have been angry at each other, but to all now peacefully be in this room and to be able to move forward for the benefit of the students and the children and the community of Easthampton is exactly why I do the work I do, and it is exactly why teachers and parents and other members of the community came out again and again and again. To be in a democracy means to have faith that people can work together and resolve their problems. And I just want to thank you so much, and I'm excited for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public here?
And this is just on general government, the general
Yes,
government
yep,
section, right?
general
Just to
government, yeah,
clarify. Okay.
yeah. Shelby?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Shelby Lee, and I'm in Ward 4. I just wanted to speak about the budget. I'm sure most, if not all, of this budget will pass as is, but I have to express my sadness at seeing this body continue to underfund and undersupport many of its municipal assets, while continuing to significantly increase budgeting and incentives for the police department. The police department in this town gets whatever they ask for whenever they ask for it, and this is not at all the situation for most of our other municipal assets. I'm even having to avoid using the word departments to refer to our other city assets because many of them, like the library, are not funded as municipal departments and have to puzzle together a variety of funding sources to secure their baseline operations. This non-municipal status also excludes them from being able to participate in and offer jobs to seniors in the senior work program. The school committee even had to get a special letter and agree to a third-party audit to get the same flexibility with funding that the police department has already been receiving without question. Even if we want to ignore the truth that policing at its core is an institution based on racism and classism that cannot be reformed or trained away, and that our own police department is guilty of conducting traffic stops and using force against people of color at a significantly higher rate than is representative of our population, it seems impossible to be able to overlook the amount of money and support they get over other city departments. Most of our municipal employees do not get anywhere near the same type of education incentives or base pay as the police department, but are repeatedly on the chopping block when it comes to funding, or not even considered when there are available funds up for grabs. An example is cannabis revenue. In 2021, the EPD received 86% of the cannabis revenue funds, receiving at least $624,424 via supplemental appropriations. It's so dispiriting to see this body continue time and again to invest in policing the community over supporting the community, especially for them to do so now with luxury vehicles and AR-15s. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelby. I just want to remind the people from the public that we are in Section 1, General Government. This is a public hearing. You're allowed to to speak, but I just want to remind everybody that we are in section 1. Donovan?
Hi, can you hear me? My name is Donovan Lee. I'm a resident of Ward 4, and I just wanted to say that, this letter of agreement between the school and the city isn't really a win for the school. It's already how this city operates, as we've seen over the past year. The Easthampton Police Department received at least $873,000 in supplemental appropriation funding alone in 2021. And the school has to undergo a third-party audit, which is something that none of the other departments have to go through, as far as I'm aware, even though, a lot of them also use supplemental appropriations to do contractual obligations that they didn't budget for. Also, this process seemed, close to violating open public meeting law. This letter should have been published for the public when the community first began discussing it, and it was only read aloud once in a meeting on Monday, and not even provided in a written format with the emergency school meeting today at 4. Anyone who has an opportunity to look at the letter in the council agenda in the brief window, and by brief I mean a few minutes before, about an hour before this meeting began, has an idea of what's going on, can tell that this is not a win for the school budget. It's just concessions on the school's part, no concessions by the mayor, just so the school can maybe get enough funding, for level services throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Donovan. Just for the record, I'm going to say that we never violate open meeting law. We never have a quorum when we met. Wallace? Wally? No, he's on mute, but couldn't hear anything.
Point of information, Mr. President, is it possible to instruct the user how to turn on the microphone?
I think he did. He did, because I couldn't see that he's muted. So.
Okay.
He's right
Can you
there.
hear me? Okay, very good. I don't mean to belabor the subject, but it was June 1st of 2020 when I fell as the result of a sinkhole.
Wally,
on June
we are. This public hearing is for the budget.
It's strictly on the budget, okay.
Yeah, this is for the budget. If you have any concern about your accident, again, I encourage you to call the city hall, call the mayor, call the HR, and they can work with you. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, Councilor Rest.
I move that the city vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,334,946.59 for the various departments listed under Section 1 General Government, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, with the following amounts to be transferred as recommended by the mayor. Water, sewer, enterprise, $212,677.47. Parking fund, $2,500. Cannabis stabilization, $23,316,000. Need a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Section 1 general funds for $2,334,000 with $90.46.59. We're gonna repeat that again. $2,334,946.59. Any further discussion of Section 1 general government? Seeing none, Barbara?
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild. Aye. Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham. Aye. Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rest?
The second section is public safety. The public safety section includes the fire department, the police department, and dispatch. The mayor last year, in an effort to be cautious with revenue, provided a conservative FY22 budget for the police and fire department. The increase this year that you see is really only 3% over actual adjusted budget. And yes, there were supplemental appropriations during the year, which the mayor conceded were necessary, primarily because of union collective bargaining negotiations, which had to be paid for. The increase is only about 3% for both police and fire. It's about all. Like the incentive area, which is all about education, getting a bachelor's degree, an associate's degree, a master's degree for both police and fire, are part of collective bargaining, and and the mayor chose, instead of doing a supplemental appropriation this year, to fund it entirely, based on the fact that she's confident in her revenues. That's all I have to say for public safety, Mr. President.
Any councilor have any questions about Section 2 public safety? See, no, anyone from the public have any question or comment about public safety part of the budget? Anyone from participating remote? They want to just talk about just the public safety section of the budget? Julie?
Hi, thank you. My name is Julie, and I live in Precinct 1. First, I just wanted to say I am so grateful for the mayor and the school committee and our counselors for coming together as a team to collaborate in a solution to the school budget issue. I don't need to tell you how vital it is to vote yes and approve the FY 2023 budget, as well as the detrimental impact it will have on our entire community if not passed or any section is cut. We are fortunate in Easthampton to be able to have a budget where the level of services can be sustainable for our future and to meet our needs and exceed them whenever possible. And passing the budget will do this. Thank you all for your hard work and collaboration that brought us to this point of passing the FY23 budget. I will end just saying the future is bright when we all work together, and leadership sets the example. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Shelby?
I just wanted to add that the police budget increase is between 12 and 17% based on the numbers provided to the public. Thanks.
Thank you, Shelby. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, Councilor Rest.
I move that the city vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $6,761,666.49 for the various departments listed under Section 2 Public Safety, and the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations as recommended by the mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Section 2 Police Safety, $6,761,666.49. Any further discussion? Councilor Saret.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a general question regarding the budget. With the incentives included for police and fire in the budget as opposed to anticipated appropriations at some other point, does this imply that we, as the city, will likely have more free cash available for other appropriations this year than we had last year?
You want me to answer this?
Councilor Rest.
Free cash is always a question mark. How much we have is dependent on closing the books, and our auditor does a great job in getting it to the DOR. As for the incentives, I did say that the mayor fully funded it because now we have the collective bargaining contracts are in force. And as a result, she is well aware of the needs for those departments. So rather than, and because revenues look good, she did fund them entirely. I don't believe we're going to need to refund those kinds of issues. Let's hope we keep overtime down. That might be the only area that we have to worry about.
Thank you, Councilor.
For both departments.
That answer your question, Councilor?
I believe so, yeah, I think.
Any other councilor have any question?
Mr. President?
Yeah, Councilor Kuczynski, can you please just raise your hand? I'm watching all the time you, so
I know, I was actually, I know you're watching
Yes,
and it may be
look,
difficult.
Counselor, I
wanted to
look
point out
everybody and
that-
then I look at the computer, so I know you are raising your hand.
I know, I don't know if you noticed that Mr. Rapolis had raised his hand at the same time you were calling on Counselor West, and I think.
Counselor, thank you. I do saw it, but he was late, so he have another opportunity to talk to the council during the process. Thank you, Counselor. Any other counselor have any questions?
Comment is about public safety.
Yeah.
I'll give you the opportunity. Counselor, Wally?
Yes. What I wish to raise, I'm looking for an assembly that will serve. I will allow this for a period of enlightenment on the schools and sustainability. We have a mandate that insists on fresh perspectives in the development of a sustainable economic blueprint. And I'd like to further say the beauty of children entering into the educational process for families, for themselves, for the local area. And what I did is I succeeded in what I succeeded in was the United Nations Global Compact consists.
Wally, we are in section 2 for the public safety part of the budget. Can you please, if you're gonna make a comment about that section, please?
Okay, I'm sorry. I pass.
Thank you.
Just point of order, Mr. President. We have a motion on.
I'm totally forget about that. Thank you to remind me that. Barbara?
Brad Riley,
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham. Aye. Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski. Tom Peak.
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rist.
I would like to pass the gavel over to my colleague, Counselor Peak, as I apologize I was not able to attend what was a difficult meeting for Counselor Peak and Counselor Gomez for the school budget. So, Counselor Peak, schools.
Counselor,
Sure.
I just want to remind the councilors. I'm going to remind everybody that I'm the city council president.
Okay.
Just wait for me to be recognized, and then we're going to have a really smooth meeting. Thank you. Councilor Peak.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not as good at narratives as Councilor Rist is, having not really practiced this, but the schools are going to this year. It's a big year. It's the first year that everybody is going to be at a school building that was built in my lifetime, which is pretty cool. But it comes with a lot of new challenges, particularly around busing that raised a lot of expenses. Inflation and gas prices didn't help with that, but the amount that there was, I think, I don't want to recap the entire conversation about the budget that's gone on, but it got up to a certain point, and we had this agreement to help deal with the fact that there's likely going to be further appropriations coming our way in order to deal with some of the fiscal challenges that the school will likely face in this complicated time. So I'm not as good at this as Dan, but that's what I got. So I will.
Before the motion.
Yes, I move that the city
Not yet.
vote. No, okay, I don't do that.
Yes. Before the motion, any councilor have any question about the school section 3 schools? No. Anyone from the public have any question or comment about section 3 schools? Anyone from the public? No. Before you, Councilor Peak, make a motion, I just wanna, for the record, I wanna say it once again that I called the Ethics Commission because my wife worked at the high school, and I'm allowed to vote. I'm not allowed to deliberate how they're gonna use the money. And by the way, we don't determine how they're gonna use the money. We only give their money and they decide how to use it. So for that reason that I call the Ethics Commission, Councilor Gomez is allowed to vote. Councilor Peak.
All right, I move that the city vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $17,889,577.60 for the various departments listed under Section 3, Schools, and that the amount listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations as recommended by the mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Section 3 for schools from $17,889,577.60. Any further discussion? Councilor Rocha?
I just want to say how thrilled I am to be able to vote on this and vote yes on this tonight, and echo the thank you and just applaud the city, because we had a shared vision, like Councilor Riley mentioned. Not one person reached out against funding the schools, level funding. So it was like the whole city shared the vision. I believe including the mayor shared the vision, and we got to this point. And even though I regret that teachers had to finish the school year feeling anxious, kids had to feel anxious, parents, I'm a parent of a third grader who has the benefit of Miss Betts. It also was the unintended consequences of bringing people together. I got to meet Miss Betts standing out in the pond. I got to really have really great conversations with school committee members. I got to talk to parents, and so even though maybe some of us could have, especially those teachers, lived without the stress, I really think in the end, I'm really, again, proud to live in Easthampton and proud to be a parent here. And just thank you, everyone, for showing up.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Sarah?
I probably don't have much more to say than what my colleague just said, but I just wanted to clarify for the record, because I've been so vocal up until now about my concerns and potential opposition to this passing, mostly in written and spoken forms. I know that there were concerns from certainly parents, members of the city, certainly members of the school department about the requested amount of funds that they felt that were needed for level service and what was put forward in the budget. And I felt that until mostly today, it was unclear what the path forward was. I think that this agreement that we received, again, thank you to everyone who was involved with that, offers a path forward. This will be funded through appropriations. I will happily vote for any appropriation that comes forward for the schools. I plan to vote yes now, with the understanding that there are potentially more funds needed. I know we're still waiting for Chapter 70 money and some other monies that will probably help the schools out. But I have all the confidence that we will arrive at level service for our schools. And again, thank you to everyone who made this happen.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other Councilor? Seeing none. Barbara?
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham.
Aye.
Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
J.P. Kaczynski. Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rist.
Section 4, Public Works. Let's talk a little bit about the great work that our Department of Public Works does. They deal with all the fuel for the entire city, and that's one of the areas that's gone up in their budget. We have the engineering department, the highway department dealing with snow removal, fixing streetlights, motor repair, repairing all the vehicles of the city, and traffic. Department of Public Works does a great deal of work. The budget that's presented is pretty much a level service budget with only the additions required because of step increases and pay plan increases. So it's not a huge increase. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any Councilor have any questions about Section 4 Public Works? Seeing none. Anyone from the public have any question or comments about Section 4 Public Works? I don't see anyone. Councilor Rest?
I move that the city vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,915,538.97 for the various departments listed under Section 4 Public Works, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, with the following amounts to be transferred as recommended by the mayor: Water Sewer Enterprise, $458,813.39. Sale of lots, $2,500.
We have a motion and a second for Section 4 Public Works for $1,915,538 with 97 cents. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Barbara?
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham.
Aye.
Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez. JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rist?
Human Services. The largest increase in this budget is for the Board of Health and the Health Department. Given the pandemic and the fantastic work they've done, it was recognized by the mayor that they need some assistance, so there's been a staffing increase. That's the major increase in their budget. And I have to say thank you to all of the people involved in that. For the record, and it's not an ethic thing, I can vote on this, my daughter Beth is on the Board of Health. The other sections in Human Services, I lost it, Mr. President. Veteran Services, the Veterans Department's done a fantastic job, and that's part of a regional Veterans Department. I think we work with South Hadley. So I'm very happy that the work that Michael does for us. Thank you, Mr. President. I lost my train of thought. I apologize.
Any councilor have any questions or comment about this Section 5 Human Services? See none. Councilor Kaczynski, no. Anyone from the public have any comment or question about Section 5 Human Services? I don't see any. Councilor Rest?
I move that the city vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $746,706.35 for the various departments listed under Section 5 Human Services, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations as recommended by the mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for Section 5 Human Services to approve $746,706 with 35 cents. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Barbara?
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham. Aye. Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rist?
Culture and Recreation, Section 6. This deals with the Emily Williston Memorial Library and Parks and Recreation. The library's budget is a few $1,000s higher than that is required by law this year. And the Park and Recreation Department's budget is also slightly increased due to the fact that we're finally having an open park after 2.5 years. So there is some temporary, addition of temporary employees, et cetera.
Thank you, Councilor. Any councilor have any question or comment about Section 6 Culture and Recreation? Councilor Zaret?
Just a quick comment that our library needs all the help we can get. I know it's not going to be solved in this budget, but just a plea going forward. I've been shown some very convincing evidence that without finding more ways to raise money, whether it be through budgeting or otherwise, our library is in big trouble of existing in 6 years. So as we look forward to future fiscal years, we really need to be thinking about how to support this institution one way or another. So just wanted to put that out there.
Any other councilors? Anyone from the public have any questions or comment about Section 6 Culture and Recreation? See none. Councilor Rest?
I turned the page. I move that the city vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $642,197 for the various departments listed under Section 6 Cultural and Recreation, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, with the following amount to be transferred as recommended by the mayor.
We have a motion and a second to approve Section 6, Culture and Recreation for the budget of amount of $642,197. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Barbara?
Connie Denham. Aye. Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild. Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rist?
Section 7, debt and interest. I'm happy to report that this budget is down because we have renegotiated our bonding and our interest and principal payments are down this year. Also, I want to compliment the mayor for I think it's the third year in a row. She's using tax rate stabilization, $150,000, to reduce taxation required for our override votes, the debt exclusion override votes for the school. This was not necessary, so when you hear we've raised our taxes 2.5%, you can drop $150,000 of that tax down because the mayor has provided this funding. A lot of that is because we do have revenues we haven't had in the past. So this is good news. We're paying our debts and we don't have to pay as much. And we've got, I'll say this, our bond rating is why we're paying a lot less interest than we would have if the bond rating was higher. Or, I'm sorry, lower. I found out it can't get any higher because we're not a big enough city. So.
Any councilor have any questions or comments about Section 7, debt and interest? Seeing none, anyone from the public have any question or comment? Seeing none, Councilor Rist?
I move that the city vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $4,734,555.01 for the various departments listed under Section 7, debt and interest, and that the amount listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, with the following amounts to be transferred or raised as recommended by the mayor. Water sewer enterprise, $394,405.01. Debt exclusion taxation to be reduced by reserves for amortization, $3,310. Tax rate stabilization, $150,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Section 7, debt and interest for $4,734,555 with 1 cent. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Barbara?
Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham. Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rist?
Mr. President, I'd like you to please call on Councilor Peak for unclassified as I missed that meeting.
Councilor Peak?
Thank you, Mr. President. Section 8 is unclassified. Unclassified is basically employee benefits. Employees need benefits. Employees of government organizations usually don't work there because the pay is great, but they often do work there because the benefits are good, so we got to pay the benefits.
Any councilor have any questions or concern about those benefits? Councilor Rist?
I wanted to say that I am very happy that our 32B, which is our health care, provided for all of our employees, the city does pay for school employees as well as all the other employees, is only up a little. When everybody's health care premiums seem to skyrocket, we're managing this quite well, and I thank our financial team for those negotiations. One of the reasons it's lower is our employees seem to be less of a risk to these to our insurance trusts. So keep up the good work, employees. So.
Any other councilors? Anyone from the public have any comment or question? Seeing none, Councilor Peak.
Okay, I move that the city vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,934,943 for the various departments listed under Section 8, Employee Benefits, and that the amount listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations with the following amounts to be transferred as recommended by the mayor: water sewer enterprise, $660,777.16.
We have a motion and a second to approve Section 8 unclassified employee benefits for $9,943,943 with no cents. Any further discussions? Seeing none, Barbara?
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham. Salem Derby.
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rist?
Section 9 is community preservation. This did pass the Finance Committee 3-0 because the Community Preservation Fund is separate from the general fund. Community preservation is funded through taxation, which was voted by the public, a 3% tax on property values, as well as matching funds from the state. What I want to also get a little bit out there is the misinformation that this is a big increase in budget. It is actually a big increase in revenue from the previous year. We have a much higher match, and because of, unfortunately, housing assessments, our taxes are higher for community preservation, so our revenue is very high. The Community Preservation Committee only budgets funds for administration for the beginning of the fiscal year, which is primarily the salary of the administrator for this fund. The remaining parts of this $785,000 are moved to various accounts. For instance, there's 3 accounts the state requires at least a 10% appropriation for. We've funded it much higher, $110,000 for historic preservation, $110,000 for for affordable housing, and $110,000 for open space and recreation. These funds, along with the $250,000 we have been setting aside for the Old Town Hall project, which we've all approved and supported, is where the money goes. So the budget is not exactly the same as other budgets. We fund projects which come through our committee regularly. We have just recently signed a letter of intent to fund up to $1 million for affordable housing over the years. That's a big one. And I just read our agenda. We're about to help the park department with especially our pools. So that's the kind of projects we've been doing. And if you walk on the boardwalk or you ride the rail trail, that's the CPA. So I'm very proud of my work with the community preservation, as you can see. Counselors, if you have any questions.
Any comments? Thank you. Any councilor have any question? Anyone from the public have any question or comment about this section? Seeing none, Councilor Rist?
I move that the city vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $785,000 for the various departments listed under Section 9, Community Preservation, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations with the total amount to be raised and appropriated from the Community Preservation Fund as recommended by the mayor and the City Council Finance Committee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Section 9, Community Preservation, for $785,000. Any further discussion?
I have a question, but
I'm
you
sorry,
may not want
we have a
to.
motion and a second, Wally, you're not allowed to talk. We have a motion and a second. Any councilor have any? No. Barbara?
Connie Denham.
Aye.
Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rist?
The last section is Section 10, Enterprise. It was also passed 3-0 because the Enterprise Department deals with our sewer and water works, and the sewer and water works are run like a business. This is for the community's understanding. Everybody pays sewer and water fees, which funds the enterprise budget. As it is a separate fund than the general fund, the Finance Committee did recommend this 3-0. It is another section where our Department of Public Works works diligently to keep running, and our sewer and water infrastructure is in a very difficult position right now. It needs help, and we've been appropriating funds constantly for its maintenance. And unfortunately, replacing a sewer line or fixing the wastewater treatment plant is very costly. So that's what Enterprise does, and happy to answer any questions.
Any councilor have any questions or comments? Anyone from the public have any question or comment about Section 10 Enterprise? I don't see any. Councilor Rest?
I move that the city vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,796,752.63 for the various departments listed under Section 10 Enterprise, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, with the following amounts to be transferred as recommended by the mayor and the city council finance committee. Water sewer enterprise, $2,796,752.63.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second for Section 10 Enterprise for $2,796,752.63. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Barbara?
Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski. Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham.
Motion passes. Councilor Rest?
The budget is done. Thank you.
Thank you.
First item up for separately is supplemental appropriation. This is $650,000 from free cash to our stabilization accounts. I made a big speech at finance, but the finance committee did approve this 3-0, and I'll just simply reiterate why we need general stabilization. There are two major reasons. One is it's our rainy day fund. If we have a recession, and Councilor Peak is concerned that we will have a recession, funding revenue from the state dries up. In 2008, it was a terrible recession, and we had to lay off a lot of employees because we did not have stabilization. By having stabilization accounts, we're able to ensure that we can deal with a possible recession. Also, capital stabilization was done a few years ago to put money in there in case we have some serious urgent need to repair capital, such as a dangerous wastewater treatment plant. I always bring that up because it's old and it needs constant repair, and if it goes down, we don't want to think about that. Anyway, so we have stabilization accounts for emergencies, and that's why we save money here. Free cash goes away at the end of the fiscal year and is reformulated, but at the end of the year, we do have stabilization. Our savings accounts constantly overturn, and we always have them. Just for the purpose of your knowledge, free cash after these transfers this evening will be $308,615 remaining, and if it won't be used, it goes into the kitty and will be reappropriated in the fall by the DOR when it's calculated. In retained earnings is the enterprise fund's free cash. They have $1,564,282.20. Our auditor assures me that that money, although it will go away at the end of the fiscal year, will probably come back. That helps fund those in a more appropriate way, not an emergency, those big capital projects in sewer and water. Also, the biggest thing that stabilization does for us, it tells the bonding agencies that we are a stable government and riskless government. We now have a AA+ rating, the highest rating you can get for a city or town, and it has saved us thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars when we bond for a $109 million school. So I wanted the public to know this. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Councilor. Any councilor have any questions or concerns or comment about this supplemental appropriation? Councilor Saret?
Thank you, Mr. President. May I address a question directly to the finance chair?
Sure.
Sorry.
Yes, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is more for, and thank you for the explanation, Mr. Chair. This is probably more for my clarification, but also for the public, just because this came up juxtaposed to some of the discussions around funding other departments. When we move this out of free cash, these other accounts, if we needed that money for other purposes, can we move it out of those accounts for appropriations?
The mayor can fund anything out of general stabilization. She cannot fund anything out of capital stabilization. It has to go directly to capital, like something is broken and we need a new truck. The new establishment of the school stabilization account can only go to the schools. When you put something, the cannabis stabilization account, the cannabis money goes in there. It can only be cannabis money that goes in there. We can't move money into that. So the only one that can be funded, and it's been done, is out of general stabilization. We don't like to tap it because it suggests that our operating budget has some issues to all of those finance people out there. But the only one that can be funded in general is general stabilization.
Thank you.
Adel, I'm right, correct?
Again, Councilor.
Yes, you are.
I'm sorry, again, I'm gonna repeat it one more time. Just wait until the council president recognize you. Thank you. Any other, Councilor Kuczynski?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to ask a question, a point of information about, I know it says 650,000 from free cash to general and capital stabilization funds. Is there a breakdown as to how much goes to the general stabilization and how much to capital?
Yes, Councilor Kuczynski, is 260,000 to general stabilization and 390,000 for capital stabilization. Councilor Rist?
I think if you're asking how much is in those funds after this, these appropriations, in general stabilization, we will have $4,720,000 in that stabilization account. And in capital stabilization, we will have $2,820,000.
And that after we
After the
approve this.
appropriations, yes.
The next question I had to do with clarification. I know Councilor Rist had said in his statement that the mayor can appropriate these funds. I believe that requires further clarification. I had thought that any of those funds to be removed required council approval.
Councilor Rist?
Appropriation is the word appropriation refers to the step starting the requirement. The mayor is an appropriating authority. The Community Preservation Committee is an appropriating authority. Both of those authorities require city council approval. And for your information, movement out of stabilization requires a 2/3 majority vote of the city council. That would be required for any stabilization appropriation.
Thank you, Councilor Kuczynski. That answer your question?
That answered the question. The last thing is, I suppose the council, if it wanted, could send a message to the mayor for a request to remove the money. Should that ever become available, that would be one of the things we could ask the mayor to use the funds. So I think there are tools to use to, should that become available or the need to arise. I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilor? Anyone from the public have any questions or comment about this appropriation? Seeing none, Councilor Rest.
I move that the city council approve a supplemental appropriation. The amount requested is $650,000 to be transferred from free cash, to be transferred to general stabilization, $260,000, to be transferred to capital stabilization, $390,000, for the following purpose: to fund general stabilization to provide stability to the current environment, and to fund capital stabilization to meet capital needs.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the supplemental appropriation of $650,000 from free cash to general funds and capital stabilization funds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Barbara?
Omar Gomez.
Aye.
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham. Salem Derby.
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rest?
We have an interdepartmental transfer in front of us of $51,828.48. We must do this quarterly. The money that comes in from charter has to go out to Easthampton Media, so it's just a transfer. We have to do this quarterly so that cable-related purposes in our franchise agreement can be funded. It's just something we have to do every quarter.
Any councilor have any questions? For the new councilor, I will refer to our city auditor. to explain this a little better for the new counselors. That way you have an idea why we're doing that. Harold, can you please explain it to the new counselors and to the public why we have to do this quarterly?
Sorry, are we at PEG access?
Yes.
Okay. So we get money from Charter Communications, and where town is used as a passerby financial unit to pass money to Easthampton Media. But from the accounting standpoint of view, there was a regulation which was passed at the state level, and what we need to do is we need to have it in order to spend the money, we need to have a council vote, and that's how Easthampton Media gets paid.
Thank you, Harold. Any counselor have any questions? Anyone from the public have any comment or questions about this transfer? See, Councilor Rest?
I move that the full council approve an interdepartmental transfer. The amount requested is $51,828.48 to be transferred from the PEG Access account, $51,828.48, to be transferred to the PEG Access account, $51,828.48, for the purpose of giving approval to spend from the PEG Access receipts reserved account for cable-related purposes consistent with the franchise agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for interdepartmental transfer. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Barbara?
JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Tom Peak.
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Owen Zaret.
Aye.
Connie Denham. Salem Derby.
Aye.
Omar Gomez.
Aye. Motion passes. Councilor Rest?
We have a supplemental appropriation in front of us of $287,769. This is coming from enterprise retained earnings for the enterprise system for the purpose of funding our match for the Cherry Street renovations. We received through the hard work of the planning department in conjunction with the Department of Public Works, $3,797,551 various grants, and this money is necessary for construction to begin. This project is an amazing project. It's an example of the kind of projects that enterprise can fund, and that's why, just to repeat, enterprise retained earnings is the free cash in the enterprise fund. So I'm very happy that we're going to move ahead with this Cherry Street project.
Thank you, Councilor. Before letting the councilors have any question, we have the DPW Director, Greg Natterman, here. I don't know if you want to add something before.
Is he up there?
I don't have much to add, but I will second that it was a largely conjunctive effort between the Department of Public Works, the Planning Department, and we've got to hand it to the guys in the sewer division that have really helped the utilities keep limping along over there these past couple of years while everyone worked together to, it's gone through from the municipal vulnerability planning grant program to now we're into an action grant, and we've managed to hook that together with a community development block grant to really get a lot done over there with using grant funds and not have to look to the enterprise or ratepayers to fund the vast majority of it. So it's just an excellent example of what we can do when we're all working together. So.
Thank you. Any councilor have any question? Councilor Peak?
Oh, well.
Yeah, and Tom, I mean, you've been involved in it right since the beginning.
Well, it's right around the corner from me, and it's also, since it's my precinct, I get a lot of the concerns about the way that things are currently set up, and I just want to say how incredibly excited I am about this program, not just because it addresses the concerns of the folks who live on Cherry Street, but also because I really believe that what we're talking about here in terms of sort of using sort of these green concepts when we're talking about infrastructure is likely the future of how things are going to look. And being leaders here, in Easthampton, I just think this is super exciting. I think other people are going to look to this. I mean, it's just like the governor came out, for this project. Like, this is a project that a lot of people are excited about. This is the kind of project that people go to MMA conventions and brag about, So I'm very excited about this project, and super excited to see this go forward and to see how the lessons that we learned here that can be applied to a lot of our infrastructure problems citywide.
Thank you. Any other councilor? Anyone from the public have any question or comment about this appropriation? Wally?
Yes, this goes back
Can you
8
please-
years.
Can you please state your name and address?
I'm sorry. It's Wally Rapolis on 1 South Hampshire Street in Easthampton. And I think it goes to what you're discussing right now with the Cherry Street project. Because 8 years ago, there was, I don't know how many of you may have heard of a Mr. Jim Mintz, but it has to do with marketing in the public sector and how there is an interchange between people that meet before the city council and the dialogue that takes place before the departments of the city, whether it be DPW or other entities. But one of the things that I point out or I picked up in this article, which was written in Canada, is that what may be seen as promotion is actually the product is the community working together. It's trust between the individuals, the taxpayers of the entity, and the management of the entity, which is, of course, the city council. And as long as you have this kind of interplay that results in resounding success over having not only just an idea, but an idea that becomes a project, and a project like with the schools that operates within specific timelines and within budget. That speaks not only to effective management, but it also speaks to the forward-moving thesis behind this community and the emphasis that it places, whether it has to do with public safety or the school system. The whole idea, like the council has mentioned, of working together, it takes, there is no contest, no threat that anybody in the community, that they don't have a vote, that they may not be seen as having a vested interest in the activities of the community, but more evidence of what we're seeing right now. It's just going to be more of a vote for the future of the city. And again, not in dollars and cents, but just through human exchange, because in that there's not going to be any.
Thank you, Wally.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's 3 minutes.
Anyone else?
You're welcome.
Seeing none, Councilor Rest.
Better remember what we were doing. Could I have a move that the full council approve a supplemental appropriation? The amount requested is $287,769.80 to be transferred from enterprise retained earnings, $287,769.80 to be transferred to the Cherry Street project, $287,769.80 for the following purpose. The Department of Public Works has worked closely with the Planning Department to secure grant funding from the Massachusetts Municipal Vulnerability, Preparedness, and Community Development Block Grant programs. Through this effort, we have been awarded $3,797,551 to reconstruct Cherry Street. Match funding in the amount of $287,769.80 is necessary for construction to begin.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for interdepartmental transfer of $287,769.80 for Cherry Street Reconstruction Project, grant matching funds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Barbara?
Tom Peak,
Aye.
Brad Riley,
Aye.
Dan Rist,
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild,
Aye.
Owen Zaret,
Aye.
Connie Denham, Salem Derby,
Aye.
Omar Gomez, JP Kaczynski.
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rist?
We have a end-of-year supplemental appropriation of $10,873 to be paid for. It's an injured on duty prior fiscal year bill. It's a 2018 bill that was discovered through the Cabot Risk Insurance. It was a deductible that was outstanding. We often get these at the end of years when they do their books. They find out that we owe them money. So that's all this is it's what's called an old bill, and obviously we have to pay it.
Any councilor have any questions or comments about these appropriations? Seeing none, anyone from the public have any comment or question? Seeing none, Councilor Rist?
I move that the full council approve a supplemental appropriation. The amount requested is $10,873.19 to be transferred from free cash, to be transferred to the injured on duty prior fiscal year bill of $10,873.19 for the purpose of covering unexpected remaining medical expenses for injured on duty claims from prior fiscal years. Cabot Risk Insurance audit found deductibles that were outstanding.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the supplemental appropriation of $10,873.19. Any further discussion? Councilor Kosinski.
I just wanted to point out that, as Councilor Christ said, it is not unusual for an audit to pick up an item like this from previous fiscal years, and that's what audits are for. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilor? Barbara?
Brad Riley,
Aye.
Dan Rist,
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild,
Aye.
Owen Zaret,
Aye.
Connie Denham, Salem Derby,
Aye.
Omar Gomez, JP Kaczynski, JP,
Aye.
and Tom Peak.
Aye.
Motion passes. Councilor Rist?
The final supplemental appropriation is $17,000. This is to cover our requirement to pay school and other employee Medicare tax. We paid the premium recently. We have to pay the tax, catch up on it at the end of the year. Payroll changes such as COLAs, collective bargaining changes, pay plan increases, required us to collect more Medicare taxes than were budgeted. So we have to pay it now at the end of the fiscal year.
Any councilor have any questions? Anyone from the public have any question or comment? Seeing none, Councilor Rist?
I move that the full council approve a supplemental appropriation. The amount requested is $17,000 to be transferred from free cash, to be transferred to the school Medicare account, $5,000, to be transferred to the Medicare tax account, $12,000, for the following purpose: to cover the remaining fiscal year required Medicare taxes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the supplemental appropriation of $17,000 to cover Medicare tax for the remainder of fiscal year 2022. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Barbara?
Dan Rist,
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild,
Aye.
Owen Zaret,
Aye.
Connie Denham, Salem Derby,
Aye.
Omar Gomez,
Aye.
JP Kaczynski, Tom Peak,
Aye.
Brad Riley.
Aye.
Motion passes. Look like we do everything what we have on the agenda. We'll take a motion to adjourn.
No, Mr. President.
How about closing the public hearing?
I'm sorry. You are correct.
I'm hired.
You are correct. You got me in that one.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing.
Lindsay Rothschild,
Aye.
Owen Zaret,
Aye.
Connie Denham, Salem Derby,
Aye.
Omar Gomez,
Aye.
JP Kaczynski, Tom Peak,
Aye.
Brad Riley,
Aye.
Dan Rist.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Whoa.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Barbara?
Owen Zaret,
Aye.
Connie Denham, Salem Derby,
Aye.
Omar Gomez,
Aye.
JP Kaczynski,
Aye.
Tom Peak,
Aye.
Brad Riley,
Aye.
Dan Rist,
Aye.
Lindsay Rothschild.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, everybody.
Stuff to sign, don't leave.
Don't leave, we have to sign.
What is this?
Oh,
Just one?
Oh, no, there's a
Oh.
bunch.
don't we have to sign every budget or anything?
No, nothing for the budget.
So everybody can get paid.